Alright, this is Elder Young One coming with another video. First, I'm going to start straight into the scriptures. We're going to go to Deuteronomy chapter 4, and I'm going to start with verse 13. It says, "And he declared unto you his covenant, which he commanded you to perform, even 10 commandments. And he wrote them upon 2 tables of stone." We're in Deuteronomy chapter 4. Now I'm going to go up to verse 2. "Ye shall not add unto the word which I commanded you, neither shall ye diminish aught from it, that ye may keep the commandments of Yahuwah your power, which I command you." Now, the commandments, there's only 10 of them. And a lot of the Hebrew Israelite brothers and sisters out there are getting confused, and they're trying to put the commandments and the laws and statutes and judgments together. That's a no-no. Now, the laws, statutes, and judgments are different from the covenant. Let's go into the covenant a little bit more so we can know just what the covenant is. So we're going to go to Deuteronomy chapter 9, verse 9. And it says, "When I was gone up into the mount to receive the tables of stone, even the tables of the covenant." You see that? "Which Yahuwah made with you, then I abode in the mount 40 days and 40 nights. I neither did eat bread nor drink water." Let's go down to verse 11, shall we? We're talking about the covenant that we broke. This is the reason why we're in the land of our captivity right now. This is why we're still scattered in the lands of the heathen right now, today. Verse 11. "And it came to pass at the end of 40 days and 40 nights that Yahuwah gave me 2 tables of stone, even the tables of the covenant." So what's the covenant, y'all? 2 tables of stone. Alright. Let's go to verse 15. We're still in Deuteronomy chapter 9, verse 15. "So I turned and came down from the mount, and the mount burned with fire, and the 2 tables of the covenant were in my 2 hands." So we're supposed to be turning back to Yahuwah by turning back to the covenant. Now, a lot of people trying to throw all these different laws out at you and tell you you're supposed to do this, you're not supposed to do that. Or if you celebrate a holiday, which I don't celebrate holidays, but if you're a type of person, you know, you're keeping the covenant. But let's say you got family members that want to come over and invite you over to their Thanksgiving dinner. Okay, I would go over to that Thanksgiving dinner. I would sit down with my family and enjoy myself and get full and be happy because I know I'm keeping the covenant. Okay. Some of y'all might have family members and friends that still want to buy you something on Valentine's Day. If somebody want to buy me something on Valentine's Day, I'm gonna take that gift. I don't care nothing about Valentine's Day or Cupid or anything like that. But if you want to buy me something, I'll be glad to take it. Yeah. And I'm going to still keep the covenant. See, all that paganism, all that stuff don't have no power anyway. And it has nothing to do with the covenant. Now, I'm going to show you what a lot of our fellow Hebrew Israelite brothers and sisters out there are actually guilty of. And that's not keeping all of the laws. They don't keep all of the laws, yet if they find out you might have broke one, they want to try to cite you for it, put you on Front Street in front of everybody. And these people know who they are, by the way. But here's what they probably forgot about, and that is the fact that we're supposed to be turning back to the covenant, not trying to keep all these laws. We can't even keep all of these laws while we're still in the land of our captivity, because a lot of these people, their time frame is off. We're still in the land of our captivity because we broke the covenant, not the laws. The Mosaic laws all had a consequence already tied to them. Let me give you an example. We're going to go to Leviticus chapter 20, verse 13. And I use this all the time, and they still have not yet been able to explain to me why we're not keeping this one. We'll go to Leviticus. See, now we're moving away from the covenant, and we're going into those laws. Okay? So now we're going to go to Leviticus. I'll make sure y'all see my Bible here. I'm actually using a Bible. Chapter 20. And verse 13. And here's what it says. If a man also lie with mankind, as he lies with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination. They shall be surely put to death. Their blood shall be upon them. Now, when we was living in our land, that was one of the laws of our land. See, if we had been living in our land, then certain people who we know have been found to be gay would have been killed. But because we're not living in our land, we can't keep this law, can we? In fact, none of you fellow Hebrew Israelite brothers and sisters out there kept that law when y'all found out certain pastors was gay. Because these pastors are still alive right now. So you didn't keep that law, did you? No. So there are a bunch of those. Let's look at Deuteronomy chapter 23, verse 7. Let's look at that one. For all of you that want to say that the white man is the devil, and you know, okay, y'all claim that they're Esau, that they're Edom, right? Okay, I believe that they came from Esau, but I'm not on the street corner saying that the white man is the devil, and you know, all that silly stuff that a lot of these Hebrew Israelite groups are doing. So we'll go to Deuteronomy chapter 23. And we'll go to verse 7. Deuteronomy chapter 23, verse 7 says, Thou shalt not abhor an Edomite, or don't hate an Edomite, for he is thy brother. Thou shalt not abhor or hate an Egyptian. So, why come so many of our people are hating Edomites today? You see? So apparently that tells you there must going to be some changes that's going to have to be made in these laws, statutes, and judgments. However, the covenant don't change. The covenant is separate. There's nothing going to be different about the covenant. We're going to be under the same covenant. In fact, it's going to be a renewing of the covenant. So we're all guilty of that. Deuteronomy. We're going to go to Deuteronomy chapter 17. Let's see. And we'll start at verse 2. Deuteronomy chapter 17, verse 2. If there be found among you within any of thy gates, which Yahuwah thy power giveth thee, man or woman, go for you women too, you Hebrew Israelite women too, that have wrought wickedness in the sight of Yahuwah thy power in transgressing his covenant. You see that? Transgressing the covenant. And have gone and served other gods. Now y'all all know most of us came out of Christianity Don't act like you've been in this Hebrew way all your life, because you haven't. You used to go to church and you used to worship other gods. You used to worship white Jesus, which is actually a sun god, God of the Son of God. So you worshiped the sun. You just didn't know it. Now you done got into some truth, and now you think you're doing everything right, and you want to cite us every time we make a little small fumble when it comes to these laws, which we can't even keep all of them, by the way. Which, of course, you're not keeping them all either. So we're in Deuteronomy chapter 17, verse 3, and we're finding out that we're all guilty of this one. All right? It says, and have gone and served other gods and worshipped them, either the sun, there's your Christianity right there, or moon, or any of the hosts of heaven, which I have not commanded. See, Yahuwah never commanded us to worship the sun. So when Christianity started, that's where they got that from. They was worshiping the sun. So that's why they call it the Son of God. It's just a play on words to keep us from keeping the covenant. See, it's all about turning back to the covenant. And these other nations will do whatever they can to keep us from turning back to the covenant. They don't care if we keep all of the laws. They know we can't do them anyway. We can't enforce them. We can't enforce the laws of our land. We're not even in our land to enforce these laws. So, since we know we're not keeping all of those laws, what does that say about us, those of us that want to try to be judgmental to other fellow Hebrew Israelite brothers and sisters? So now let me go to Deuteronomy chapter 27, verse 26. Let's read that. Deuteronomy chapter 27, verse 26. Cursed be he that confirmeth not all the words of this law to do them. And all the people shall say, so be it. In the Hebrew, so be it. I don't use the A word, because that's the name of another God. And yes, whenever I can, I wear fringes, just so y'all know. People, you normally can't see them on my videos, because my videos only show waist up. But I got, yeah, see that? Yeah, so I'll keep whatever laws I can. And that's what I expect from everybody else. Just keep what you can. Don't judge a fellow brother, Hebrew Israelite, when we're all cursed. Every last one of us. We're still under the curses. We're still in the land of captivity. You know how silly you sound when you try to cite someone because they've done something they broke a law, one of the laws of our land? You know how stupid that look? I mean, really, think about it. So let's not get on the laws because your head is covered, or you don't wear fringes, or you participate in pagan holidays, or are they keeping the covenant? See, that's what you need to look at. A lot of y'all try to put them together, and that was never the intention. Even in Scripture, we see that. The laws was for us to keep while we was in the land, in our land. That's when we'll keep the laws, when we go back into our land. Now, when we go back into our land, it's not going to be no Halloween, no Christmas, no Happy New Year. It ain't going to be no Valentine's Day. It's not going to be no Popeyes, McDonald's. It's not going to be any of that. But we're still in the land of our captivity. We're living among the heathen nations. Okay? You was born and raised with the heathens. So the last thing you should be trying to do is judge a fellow Hebrew Israelite brother or sister because they partake in some heathen practice, when that's probably all they knew all their life. A lot of you just now came into the truth. A lot of you found out from watching my videos. A lot of you were still worshiping a son of God when I was telling you 3 years ago there never was no son of God. Now let's deal with how we're supposed to be trying to keep these laws while in the land, not in the land of our captivity. Because a lot of y'all probably forgot. Maybe you wasn't thinking about it, or maybe whoever you've been listening to didn't teach you this. All right. So, yeah, we'll go to Deuteronomy chapter 4 again, and we'll go to verse 14. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 14. And Yahuwah commanded me at that time to teach you statutes and judgments, that ye might do them in the land, whether ye go over to possess it. You need to underline in the land, okay? Because you have to covenant, and you got the statutes and judgments that are to be done in the land. Now let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 5. Chapter 5, verse 31, it says, But as for thee, stand thou here by me, and I will speak unto thee all the commandments and the statutes and judgments. You see, you got commandments, and then you got statutes and judgments, okay? Which thou shalt teach them, that they may do them in the land which I give them to possess it. You see that? Let's go on down to verse 33. Ye shall walk in all the ways which Yahuwah thy power hath commanded you, that ye may live, and that it may be well with you, and that ye may prolong your days in the land which ye shall possess. See, it's all about being in the land when we're keeping these laws, statutes, and judgments. Now we'll go on to Deuteronomy chapter 6. We're just going on down here. And we'll go to verse 3. It says, Hear therefore, O Yahshral, and observe to do it, that it may be well with thee, and that ye may increase mightily, as Yahuwah, thy power of thy fathers, hath promised thee, in the land that floweth with milk and honey. So, it's all about keeping the laws in the land. That is why one day we're going to be taken back to first the wilderness, where he will weed out the rebels. That is in Ezekiel. I'll turn there right quick. But in Ezekiel, if I can find it, let's see. It's not there. Let's see. I don't have it marked. But in the book of Ezekiel, it talks about him taking us to the wilderness of the people. And he says that when we're in the wilderness, he's going to weed out the rebels. That means that once we're in the wilderness, there are still going to be those of us that are not going to want to do the laws and the covenant. So they will have to stay in the wilderness. They will be left in the wilderness, because you're not going to be allowed to go into the land not keeping these laws. See what I'm saying? That's why he says in the land. Over and over and over, you're going to see that time and time again in the scriptures, in the land. So these laws are to be kept in the land. Now, if you want to know how we're supposed to turn back to Yahuwah, we have to turn back to the covenant, because that's what he promised to start with, is the covenant, not the laws. Each law has its own consequence. If a man be found sleeping with another man, he has to be stoned. Something like that. The covenant had consequences too. If we broke the covenant, we was to be cursed and scattered amongst the heathen nations. That's exactly what happened. We're still in the heathen nations right now. So in order to get back, we have to turn back to the covenant. Alright? Now we're going to go to Leviticus chapter 26, verse 38. But yeah, the book of Ezekiel is a good book. I recommend reading that. So we're going to go to Leviticus chapter 26. And we're going to start at verse 38. And this is what it says. And ye shall perish among the heathen, and the land of your enemies shall eat you up. And they that are left of you shall pine away in their iniquity in your enemies' lands. And also in the iniquities of their fathers shall they pine away with them. That's what's going on right now. We're still in our enemy's land right now. Verse 4. If they shall confess their iniquity and the iniquity of their fathers with their trespass, which they trespassed against me, and that also they have walked contrary unto me, and that I also have walked contrary unto them, and have brought them into the land of their enemies, if then their uncircumcised hearts be humbled, and they then accept of the punishment of their iniquity, then will I remember my covenant, the same covenant, those 10 commandments, all right, on those 2 tables of stone. With Jacob, also my covenant with Isaac, also my covenant with Abraham will I remember, and I will remember the land. The land also shall be left of them, and shall enjoy her Shabbats while she lieth desolate without them, and they shall accept of the punishment of their iniquity, because they despised my judgments, and because their soul hated my statutes. That's getting put out of the land right there, because it's all about keeping the laws while in the land. Verse 44. And yet for all that, when they be in the land of their enemies, that's where we at right now, I will not cast them away, neither will I hate them, to destroy them utterly, and to break my covenant with them, for I am Yahuwah their power. So when we turn back to the covenant, he's not going to hate us. So the rest of our brothers and sisters, we should not be hating on one another. If you know a brother or sister that has turned back to the covenant, well, don't hate on them, because Yahuwah said that he would not cast them away, and that he wouldn't hate them. Okay, verse 45. But I will, for their sakes, remember the covenant of their ancestors, the same old covenant from way back when. That's them 10 commandments. All right. Whom I brought forth out of the land of Egypt in the sight of the heathen, that I might be their power. I am Yahuwah. So it's all about turning back to the covenant. We have to confess our iniquity and the iniquity of our fathers and turn back to the covenant. Not try to keep all of the laws, because you're not going to be able to keep all of the laws. I just proved that. There's a lot of laws our fellow Hebrew Israelite brothers and sisters is not even keeping. So how are they going to try to cite you or judge you because you're not keeping all of it? That's being very hypocritical when they're cursed too. They're cursed right along with you. We're all in this thing cursed together. So the last thing we should be doing is trying to judge or pick or complain because another brother or sister not doing it like how we think they should do it. So you can say this is your life and you living it right all you want to. We all know that you're not keeping all of the laws. You can't keep all of the laws. We're still in the land of our captivity. So let me finish going over these scriptures to help our people know how to get out of this captivity. Something that a lot of our brothers and sisters is not really going over. They're so busy trying to be a Hebrew Israelite police that they're not teaching or revealing, or at least helping our people understand what they have to do to get back in the right state of mind, so that we can be redeemed as a nation and put back in our land. We'll go to Deuteronomy chapter 4, and we'll start at verse 23. And it says, Take heed unto yourselves, lest ye forget the covenant. There it is again. Of Yahuwah your power, which he had made with you, and make you a graven image or the likeness of anything which Yahuwah thy power hath forbidden thee, like a cross, or a statue, or a fish, or a star. Alright. Now we'll skip on down to verse 27. And Yahuwah shall scatter you among the nations. That's where we're at now. And ye shall be left few in number among the heathen, whether Yahuwah shall lead you. And who's the minority here? Well, everywhere you go. Verse 28. And there you shall serve gods, the work of men's hands, wood and stone. See that? Like wooden crosses and cobblestones over in Mecca and whatnot. Totem poles made of wood and whatnot. Okay? Stone crosses, wooden crosses around folks' neck and whatnot. Which neither see, nor hear, nor eat, nor smell. Verse 29. But if from thence thou shalt seek Yahuwah thy power, thou shalt find him, if thou seek him with all thy heart and with all thy soul. See that? That's how you find him. When we're in the land of our captivity, which is where we're at right now, and we seek him with all our heart and with all our soul. It says, when thou art in tribulation, that's verse 30, and all these things are come upon thee, even in the latter days, if thou turn to Yahuwah thy power, and shall be obedient unto his voice, because his voice spoke when he gave Moses the covenant. Because we are still in our tribulation. We're still in our tribulation right now. Our tribulation started almost 400 years ago. Okay? And we've been in our tribulation ever since. And we're just now figuring out how to turn back to Yahuwah by turning back to the covenant. We're just not finding out how to keep the Shabbat. A lot of us still arguing about that. Some want to go by the concealed or hidden moon when the days don't even line up with the lunar cycles. If you go by the first sighting of the moon, at least your Shabbats will line up with what the moon is doing. All you got to do is go outside and look at the moon. You go outside and you see the moon is exactly half full, you know that the following day is the Shabbat. You go outside, you see the moon is completely full, you know the following day is a Shabbat. Of course, it's going to be like 2 or 3 nights of what a full moon. And you go outside, you see another half moon, exactly half moon. You know the following day is a Shabbat. I mean, the moon it clearly shows you over and over what day is going to be the Shabbat. You go by a hidden or concealed moon, your day is going to be off. This is just as simple as ABC 1, 2, 3. Just look at the moon. So a lot of us just now figuring that out. So this is talking about the covenant and us turning back to it. Look at verse 31. For Yahuwah thy power is a merciful power. He will not forsake thee, neither destroy thee, nor forget the covenant of thy fathers which he swore unto them. Now we'll go to Deuteronomy chapter 30. We'll go there. And we'll start at verse 1. It says, and it shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse, because we're all living in the curses right now, which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations, whether Yahuwah thy power hath driven thee, and shall return unto Yahuwah thy power, and shall obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that then Yahuwah thy power will turn thy captivity. See, that's what we're seeing now. He has been turning our captivity. We're not living on plantations anymore. We're not being shackled with shackles around our necks anymore. We're not being made to pick cotton and not get any pay for it anymore. Why? Because he has turned our captivity. Alright? And it says, and have compassion upon thee. How is he having compassion on us? Through our enemies. He's causing our enemies to have compassion on us, letting us get good jobs, good benefits, letting us live in better places, giving us opportunities to advance. We don't have to stay poor and be broke and struggling anymore, because we're given opportunities because our enemies are showing compassion on us. They're not whooping us and beating us anymore. We're not being hung on trees anymore. They're showing compassion. So let's let them show us this compassion. Receive it. Don't run around trying to call a white man it's the devil and all the white people are going to die, you know. Receive that compassion, because that's Yahuwah giving you compassion through them. So we see that he's turned our captivity. He's having compassion on us. And it also says, and will return and gather thee from all the nations, whether Yahuwah thy power hath scattered thee. So that's the final step. So once we get the captivity out of the way, and we get the compassion, then he returns and gathers us. Verse 4. If any of thine be driven out unto the outmost part of heaven, from thence will Yahuwah thy power gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee. And Yahuwah thy power will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed. See, we're going back into that land, because in that land is where we're going to keep all of our laws. Let me skip on down to verse 6. And Yahuwah thy power will circumcise thine heart and the heart of thy seed to love Yahuwah thy power with all thy heart and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live. Verse 7. And Yahuwah thy power will put all these curses upon thine enemies. You see that? And on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. Now y'all all know who it was that persecuted us. So don't act like we don't have no enemies. Okay? Y'all know we was persecuted as a people, right? So who is this talking about? Okay, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that one out. Now I'll just leave that at that. And now we're going to go to 1 Kings chapter 8. And we're going to start at verse 46. We're in 1 Kings chapter 8 and verse 46. If they sin against thee, for there is no man that sinneth not, and thou be angry with them, and deliver them to the enemy, so that they carry them away captives unto the land of the enemy, far or near. So it don't matter if it's far or near. It could be all the way in America. Verse 47. Yet if they shall bethink themselves in the land whether they were carried captives, and repent and make supplication unto thee in the land of them that carried them captives, saying, we have sinned and have done perversely, we have committed wickedness, and so return unto thee with all their heart and with all their soul in the land of their enemies, which led them away captive, and pray unto thee toward their land, which thou gavest unto their fathers, the city which thou hast chosen, and the house which I have built for thy name. Then hear thou their prayer and their supplication in heaven, thy dwelling place, and maintain their cause. Verse 50. And forgive thy people that have sinned against thee, and all their transgressions wherein they have transgressed against thee, and give them compassion before them who carried them captive. You see that compassion again? See, once you pray to Yahuwah and you tell him you're sorry for what you did, you know you messed up, you completely repent, you turn to this covenant fully, you start getting that compassion. That's when a lot of people think you must have sold out or something because these white people is treating you so nice. No, it's Yahuwah giving you compassion through them because you have turned back to Yahuwah and you're keeping the covenant. So people start being nice to you, giving you promotions on the job. You start getting some pretty nice raises, or you start getting a little extra money, you know. So things start looking up for you. This is why. It's not because you're selling drugs. Or come every time a black man start getting some money, everybody got to think he's selling drugs. Okay. So now we see it says, give them compassion before them who carried them captives. And we all know who it was that carried us captives, right? It says that they may have compassion on them. You see that? For they be thy people and thine inheritance, which thou brought forth out of Egypt from the midst of the furnace of iron. So in order for all of this to start, we have to first do what we're told to do in verse 47. It says, yet if they shall bethink themselves in the land whether they were carried captives. So while we're still over here, we have to think about it. Think about ourselves. Think about who we are. Think about what we need to do. And turn back to the covenant and stop with all this bickering. Okay? We have to be sincere, and this is an individual thing. Every single Hebrew Israelite brother and sister should be focusing on their walk. Okay, I ain't got no business trying to tell you about a law, a statute that you need to do that you ain't doing. And okay, when we get in our land, that's when all of that's gonna take place. Right now, we need to be turning to the covenant. That's what I tell people. Focus on the covenant. And all that other stuff, don't worry about that right now. We're still in land of captivity. Okay? We're still cursed as a people. You cursed too. So, I hope y'all enjoyed that video. This is just something for my brothers and sisters to think about before you start wanting to be quick to, point fingers or, try to say what somebody need to do and you ain't doing this and you need to do that. Okay, so yeah, I love all y'all, you know what I'm saying? It's all good with me, and I sleep very good at night, by the way, because of what I know. Because I know this. I know where I'm at. I know I'm still in the land of my captivity. I know I can't keep all of the laws. I know I'm still living under curses. So I sleep good. I'm getting my compassion. People on my job love me. They know I'm a good person. They know I ain't trying to be all religious. They know I ain't finna try to tell them what they can and can't do. I'll take a step with them. So, yeah. Yeah, but much love to all my brothers and sisters out there. Y'all know I love y'all. Y'all know what it is. Yourself, the young one, much love to y'all. And I'm out.